Okay, now we're going to start Windows pre-execution environment to run a menu which allows us to install various flavors of Windows 10. Now you've seen this for UEFI. Now we're going to do it for the legacy BIOS, and to do that we're going to add an entry in grub configuration. The existing menu entry for UEFI uses chainloader, but with BIOS it's slightly different. We load a kernel, a Linux kernel, and we append a menu, boot.ipxe, and ipxe starts, reads its menu, which will contain instructions to load the Windows PE environment. Now the first thing to do is to set up ipxe, and do that by downloading it here, and we did this before in fact. The code. Now you can either clone it using git clone of that, or just copy a zip and unzip it into a directory. Having done that, we need to make, going back to here, we have to make the kernel, and we do that. All this is going to be in the comments, by the way. By having downloaded it, make ipxe Linux kernel. So I'll just show you how to do that. So start a terminal session, cd to the directory that you cloned or unzipped the ipxe files into, and if you have a look at these, there's a directory called source, go into that. And now we can make the ipxe.lkrn kernel, and we do that with this. Now I've already done it, so it's pretty quick, but if you haven't already done it, that'll take a while. But it's now ready, so it's a question of copying that, which is here. Copy that and paste it into the server ipxe directory. I've actually already done it, but okay, so it's identical. So that's that ready to go, and the next thing is the configuration file. Now this is slightly different. I shall show you the file itself. This is slightly different to the UEFI version. The main difference is it needs to run dhcp to pick up the IP address and start up the networking. The UEFI one doesn't need to bother with that, so it does it itself. The other thing is the initrd needs to rename the file. So this, for some reason, seems to be important, and you can try leaving it off if you want, and you'll see what the problem is. So for each of these I've had to give it a name, like that. Finally it's got imgstat, which isn't really necessary, but this is just an example. You can put any ipxe command you like in these files, including prompt, which stops and allows you to sort of hit enter to continue. Shell, which opens up an ipxe shell, and then you can do things like ifstat and have a look at the status of all the interfaces, or net zero at least. And in a future video we might go into troubleshooting this, and you'll recompile things with debugging on, changes like that. However, that's now ready to go, so we'll try booting it. Okay, so we're going to boot from the network. And we're going to run Windows installers. So here it goes. It's actually started ipxe, and it's read the configuration file boot.ipxe. So that ran dhcp and found net zero, configured it. Now it's booting wimboot, which we use for UEFI as well, and everything's okay at the front. Now notice how much slower it is than UEFI. UEFI would have loaded that boot wim twice as fast, maybe 3 times as fast. So I'm just going to pause that. There we go, it's finished, and now it's exactly the same as the UEFI one. It starts up Windows PE, runs the Startnet script, same Startnet script, so it's going around checking the network. Network's not up. Actually, if you look on the server, you'll see it's connection established now, so it'll find it. There we go. So it's now found it, found the server. Now it's going to mount the share. It's going to stop a couple of services, mount the share, and there's the menu ready to install Windows. So there we go. All right. Well, that's legacy BIOS running.